I'm not building the entire feature. I'm building part of the feature. And this is one of the things I think that people get hung up on when they're splitting up stories. They keep thinking that the purpose of splitting up story is to maximize the efficiency of the developers. That is, how do I make the developers as efficient as possible? That is, they don't have to do a lot of touching the code again, dealing with stubs that they did before. And I say, no, you don't understand. We're not splitting stories to be as efficient for the developers as possible. We're splitting stories to deliver value as quickly as possible. And if that value causes you to stub out all the other ways we could do withdrawals from other accounts, we just put little stubs there and we'll have to go back and take them out and redo a little bit of rework to adapt them in the future. Okay, because we could deliver the value of pulling money out of checking before we deliver the value of pulling money out of savings as we go through the overall withdrawal strategy.
And I think Earl gets at a point that I've had a lot of teams struggle with, but it's often a fallacy. I'm thinking about a team I was working with that did data warehousing, and we started talking about vertical slices and incrementally delivering value and building up their reports by delivering incremental slices that touched through all the layers of the system. And they had like a little mini coronary in front of me, right? We can't do it that way. And I'm like, well, how do you do it today? Well, today we build the entire database, and then we build all the ETL, and then we build the UI on top of it. And I'm like, well, when do you get feedback? Well, when the first piece of the UI comes on. All right, so we're delaying feedback from our users for 2/3 of the project or something. And I said, well, in the way that you're doing it today, how much rework are you experiencing, right? How much do you have to go change the database and the ETL once you start putting the UI on it? And they're like, I don't know, 50 or 60%. Like, I bet you if we do it in this vertical slice way, you won't have nearly as much rework as you've been having before, right? And they were still super concerned, and we did need to do some things, and this is often true. They did end up building a logical data model before they started building anything because they wanted to make sure that they thought that this would work the proper way. So I'm like, do you have to write all the code in the database? No, we don't have to write all the code, but we have to have kind of a plan of attack. Okay, well, let's do the plan of attack. And then we put in their definition of done that they would update the logical data model whenever they made changes, right? Whenever the vertical slice caused them to then change how they wanted the data model to look, they'd update it. And the end of that project, A, their rework was lower, and B, it was the first time in their history they had a logical data model that actually reflected the way the data was architected properly and correctly. So I think
Exactly.
Earl's hitting on something a lot of teams worry about, and there's often some piece there that's right that we do need to figure out how to solve to set them up for success. But then I have yet to encounter, and who knows, right? The world is large, there's lots out there. I've yet to encounter an area where we can't apply some kind of pattern to split big pieces of work into small things that fit inside of a sprint, even though sometimes we have to do the Earl Squinty value test on it.
So
Mark, you've been
Earl,
aching.